right, what's going on, guys? Happy Friday to you. Hopefully you're getting ready for a great weekend to come. I know I am. A couple weeks back, my last update, I let you guys know that I went through a colonoscopy, and that wasn't, let's say, the most fun, but it's good to know I have 100% health, so that is really nice. But it made for a challenging week, as far as like trying to, just navigate those waters. The week after, so last week, a much better week as far as having a straight shot, being able to adhere to the calories, my diet, getting my 3 training sessions in. So that went really well. I was super busy in regards to work, a lot of new contest preppers, which is exciting for me. So I'm coaching a lot more contest prep athletes this season. So that just kind of meant like there was less time on my side to on the YouTubes here and give you guys an update. And I asked you guys in my last update what you guys wanted to hear from me. So there was a lot of good questions there. And one of the questions, how I manage weekends and family time. So considering the fact that last week was really busy on the work side of things, I had to prioritize my time, and that meant I had to not put out a vlog. So as much as I want to pay it forward to you guys, I just know that my priorities are, to my family, priorities are to my athletes, to my own, training. So I had to kind of let go of the YouTube time. So in a sense, for me personally, family always comes first, and that's the reason why I'm only training 3 days per week during this prep. Get 4 recovery days. That's a huge bonus for me because it helps with overall performance in the gym. So every time I'm there, I'm like fresh and ready to go. And because of that, I don't need to, let's say, have scheduled deloads because I'm getting 4 rest days every single week. So every session thus far in this prep, and I'm in the 5th week, and I'm feeling really good. Every training session seems to be firing on all cylinders. And the weekends, I don't train on weekends. Like 99% of the time, I'm not training on weekends because that is my time to spend with family. And that is super important for me. So if I come off the weekend, I've had a great weekend with the family, Monday comes around, I feel good. I feel like, just like a positive, productive person. I think it's important that are we thinking about like how can I maximize, optimize my bodybuilding gains? But part of that picture, in my opinion, should be how are you maximizing and optimizing your family time? And if you put that first, that's going to mean you're probably going to be an overall happier person. And if that's the case, then your training is going to probably feel that much better. And trust me, back when I was a lot younger, it was kind of the opposite. I would put bodybuilding a little bit ahead of my family, and that would cause rifts, with my relationships. And of course, there's stress with that. And, when you're stressed, obviously you carry that into the gym. So I think there needs to be a nice balance between the two, because obviously you need to train because that makes you happy. We're bodybuilders, need to be happy from that perspective, because that can obviously reflect how we feel out of the gym. I think there needs to be a healthy balance there. So just having a nice harmony with that. Progress-wise, I'm doing pretty good. It's definitely a conservative pace right now. I wanted to be a little further ahead than I am now. I wanted to be at this point right around 182 to 184 pounds. I've only lost about 3 pounds total in 5 weeks. Some might think like, okay, that's pretty slow. Now you're behind your schedule. Maybe there's stress because of that, but it's kind of the opposite. I kind of see it as, yes, I have a trajectory I'm trying to target and hoping to do summer shows. But if it comes down to it, I need to push shows back a little further and allow myself to chase the physique versus chasing a show. That's going to probably yield a better end product. And it's also going to mean the process itself is going to be probably a lot more serene. Even though the fat loss pace is on the slower side, my training is going exceptionally well. I'm performing really well. Recovery is really good. And overall stress levels are definitely on the lower side of things. 5 weeks into it, I'm getting into a nice flow and a nice rhythm with the prep. And I think that's what's super important, is that you're basically as cool as the other side of the pillow, or like the now retired Tom Brady, you're just really poised in the pocket and you're able to scan the field really well. Just throw some like laser pinpoint passes to your receivers, racking up first downs, and eventually you get into the end zone and you win the game. The big challenge as far as execution wise to my protocols was elevating my activity, getting the step count in there. To be honest with you guys, just the motivation to get up in the morning and get those steps in just hasn't been there. So what I've done is just compensated by lowering calories down. I just figured it's easier just to flick a little bit of food off my plate. It doesn't take that long to do that. A little bit of a challenge as far as a hunger perspective. But after a couple days, like I got accustomed to it. So on average, and this was another question one of you guys asked, the macro breakdown, my food sources. During the week, I have 6 low days. That's going to be in the neighborhood of 17 to 1900 calories. I do have 1 refeed day. That's auto-regulated. Like my last refeed last Sunday was about 3,600 calories. I know it's a lot, and there's a reason for that. Football. I love football. The AFC, the NFC championship games. I love those games. Like that's my favorite football day of the year. And of course, being any other NFL fan, I love to have my snacks during the game. So I allowed myself to enjoy a little bit more, as well as my physique was looking a little bit on the flat side. I could tell that I was a little more run down. Fatigue was elevated. I figured the extra calories would definitely help, heading into this week as far as making sure that my training is on point. So I've hit a couple of new lows this week, 186.9 actually today, and I had a 187.2 earlier in the week. And the weekly average this week is about 1.2 down so far. Last week was about 0.37, so a little bit of a slower week. The week before that was just a touch over a pound off. I'm making progress with adjusted game plan as far as lowering my calories down versus trying to elevate my overall steps. So for now anyways, I'm going to just roll with it because the overall stress levels again are low. I'm enjoying myself day to day, so I'm just going to roll with it until momentum slows down. Once the weather probably shifts a little bit more towards spring, and it gets a little bit sunnier earlier in the mornings, I know I'm going to be more motivated to get out there and get those steps in. I'm starting to really kind of get into a nice groove as far as like the protocol, the execution of the protocol, and the enjoyment of the protocol. And that's super important, right? Like if you're enjoying what you're doing, you're going to sustain it. This week, the big challenge is have a cold going on right now. So my body feels fine. Like I'm not having any body ache, no fever. So I feel good enough to train, but let's just say I'm not like pushing myself too hard in the gym right now, because I know if I go for broke and really push it, then I run the risk of maybe making this cold worse. And that's the last thing that I want to do is for that to happen, because obviously it's going to mean recovery is going to take that much longer. And usually if I'm, let's say, feeling achy, just low energy, there's fever, of course, I'm not going to train. I'm going to rest. I'm going to stay away from the gym and elevate calories, get myself out of a deficit to help me get recovered. And sometimes we're prepping. We don't want to miss out on progress. We get a little antsy or a little insecure with it. And we try to force our body to do what it probably shouldn't be doing. Make recovery that much harder and that much longer. It's like you're fighting an uphill battle. So I think it's super important that you should prioritize recovery when you're sick. But yeah, just a small cold, nothing major. So I'm kind of training through it, just taking it easy, like I said, and still sticking with the diet because, like I said, I don't feel low energy or anything like that. So I feel okay. And I don't really measure my fluid intake. I just gauge it by my urination, the color of my urine. If it's more clear, then I know I'm hydrated. If it's, on the darker side, dark yellow, that means I'm pretty dehydrated. So I just want to make sure that, I'm getting clear urinations, because the last thing that I want is to be even slightly dehydrated, because that can impact performance in a negative way, and not just performance in the gym, but also just your overall energy levels. You want to make sure that you're not dragging ass. on your fluid intake. But I do drink coffee in the morning, a couple cups there. Outside of that, flavored water. On occasion, I might have a diet soda, but that's usually when I'm like going out to eat. So yeah, this is kind of an easy one for me now. It's the love of process more than the progress itself. Early on, we're chasing that progress. As you advance through your training and through the years, that progress tends to slow down. You don't want to, let's say, get super frustrated because of that and get discouraged, and then you kind of lose that chase or that fire, that passion. The fact that I can move weight from A to B, it's a terrific feeling, right? Like, if you think from the perspective of like, okay, there's a lot of people out there that can't really do the physical things that we're doing. So even if I have a training session where it's like, man, I missed a lift by a long shot, like I had to lower the loads way down, or I'm short by 3 reps or what have you, like I don't get totally discouraged. Of course, there's a little bit of discouragement because I want to see progress. Moving weight from A to B is something to be, super thankful for. So yeah, it's the love of process that's, keeping me going. Kind of depends on the severity of the injury. If we're just talking some aches and pains, I would say, yeah, we can definitely, train around that. But if you're talking like an actual injury, I mean, that's probably a no-go. You definitely need to seek out professional help with that. But, as far as like these little aches and pains, like currently my pressing movements, I've been dealing with a left shoulder issue. So I've had to change exercise selection a little bit. So I've gone away from barbell and dumbbell pressing to more like Smith machine pressing and doing some push-ups because I have more stability there. It's, trying to stabilize dumbbells and barbells where I'm getting a lot of pain. So just using, movements where I don't have to stabilize as much, making sure that I'm kind of moving my hand spacing in, tucking my elbows in so I can kind of keep that shoulder joint nice and compact. And even slowing down rep speed has helped a lot with that. Using pauses has helped a lot. Even like how I'm pushing through my hand, like making sure that I'm not, let's say, pushing through the outer part of my hand, because I'm noticing when I do that, that's where I get the pain. But if I keep more of the pressure through my index finger and my thumb, it's a lot more comfortable. So you just have to kind of experiment, trial and error some things, and nuance your exercises to see what you can do, pain-free. So it's just playing around with different movements, playing around with nuancing, certain movement. That can go a long ways. Of course, like lowering loads down, using higher reps, using blood flow restriction, all can be, viable tools to help you train around injuries. So no reason other than just the fact that it's easier to grab my weight plates than it is to set up my adjustable dumbbells. So it's just more practical. And oftentimes when we watch people do things, kind of think like, oh, maybe there's something special there that's going to elicit, faster gains, better gains. Weight is weight and gravity is gravity. So no matter what tool you're using, you still have to move it against gravity. The main thing is that you're staying safe while performing a movement. You get good mind-muscle connection on it, and you enjoy doing it. Because if you're doing those things, chances are it's probably a pretty good exercise or a good way of doing things, especially if you're standardizing your form. You're probably going to see progress over time because, again, it feels good, it's safe, and you enjoy doing it. So anytime you see someone doing something that's a little bit novel, chances are it's probably not something that's going to be like, oh, wow, okay, now I'm going to see like 25% more progress. But anyways, this was a super long one, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys stuck around for most of it. Again, I'm happy to pay my experiences forward. When you guys ask questions, it helps me to just pull things out of my brain and talk about it. It's hard for me just to kind of think of things to talk about. I do much better when people are pulling things out of me. So keep those questions firing, and I will keep updating you guys on my prep. But again, I got a nice rhythm going. I'm excited, I'm motivated, and yeah, I'll leave it there. So hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll talk more next week.
Hey! I got you.